Hi, I'm Dr. Carol Francis, and in this particular class on victim looping, we're going to talk about some really good reasons for individuals to adhere to the identity of being a victim. Yes, there are some really good reasons, and you have to respect yourself in the process of shifting from being a victim to being a victor, or a victim to being a thriver, or from a victim to being a recovered individual. You have to respect that you authentically were a victim. You authentically did experience abuse and trauma at the hands of someone else that was not well intentioned, and that it did have bad impact on you during that time. So you want to be able to honestly say that without any shame, without any guilt, without anybody else taking that away from you, without anybody else telling you, oh, come on, you should stop having such a victim. You're so victimized. I hear this, oh, they're so victimized. They're such a victim. Everything is. No, when you have actually suffered abuse and trauma, you have been a victim, for real. And there are very good reasons why you maintain that identity. Now, what I'd like you to consider is that there's one thing to say, I have been a victim, and a part of my personality or a part of my history has impacted me, so I know what it feels like to be a victim. And it's a very different thing to say, that happened to me, and not only am I a victim then, but I'm still a victim now, and every aspect of who I am feels like a victim. And that's when you know it's crossed the line and that you can't live beyond your past, and you can't live beyond how it impacts at least a part of who you are in your present. And that's when you know you've gotten into victim looping. But first, before we go there, it is simply not fair to say that identifying yourself as a victim or even having a victimization or victimized consciousness is wrong, because it isn't in all cases. We don't want you to surrender to it. We don't want it to own everything about who you are, but we do want you to respect yourself through that experience and into the present, and that you have experienced a victimization. Okay, so now I want to go through this list from my book, Path to Recovery After Abuse and Trauma. And I talk about 4 really authentically good reasons for maintaining a sense of being a victim. For some people, number 1, is that they feel more authentic. It feels more real for them to say, I did experience this is a part of me, and I do think about it, and it does color my day and my relationships. It's a very real part of me. And I feel authentic when I am honest with that. I feel inauthentic when I'm pretending for the sake of other people, or pretending because I feel like I shouldn't be feeling like a victim, or I feel weak, or I feel disappointing to others, or I feel like I'm a trouble to other people. That is you moving off of this experience inauthentically. And so for you to say, I am a victim, I was a victim, this still impacts part of who I am, and you feel authentic in that, that makes complete sense as to why you would kind of hold on to, at least in part, of victim identification. A second really good reason why you might hold on to this victim identification is that you are angrily pursuing or investing in justice. You want to see something happen in the community where this doesn't happen to anybody else. You want to see the person potentially punished, but at least stopped. You want individuals to know that what you went through was authentically wrong and not poo-pooed or minimize it. You want that individual to pay the price of what harm they caused you. So for whatever reason, you may be very invested in creating a sense of justice or rightfulness. And that may be why you maintain your identification as a victim. That can be very valid. It can also rob you of a lot of your life, and we need to talk about that. But I first want you to honor the validity of a victim's identification. The third reason that comes from the book is that you are more intent in forcing others to face the egregiousness of their crime. But beyond that, if anybody colluded with enabling that individual to commit that crime. So right now we're in the midst of facing, again, we've been doing this for decades, clerics, religious leaders from the Catholic Church and from other churches as well, who have groomed their victims for sexual molestation, for rape, and for an assortment of other very sordid circumstances. Thousands of priests raping thousands of individuals over 70 decades is now quite evident around the globe. So we are incensed. Those individuals who were quiet about it, who actually knew it was going on but lied about it, or turned their face, including Pope John Paul II, Pope John Paul III. And now we're faced with, will Pope Francis actually pay attention and really do something? He said on Monday of this week that he would. We have to see action. And it's that declaration that the people who suffered the molestations and the rapes at the hands of a grooming priest that need to move back into their identity as a victim long enough to be able to say, not only were these the priests that did this, but it's everybody that colluded with allowing the priests to do that. Another example is the shootings at school, when many of the students have come back and said, if these guns were not being sold legally to individuals that didn't have proper clearance, most of these school shootings would not take place. And so who are they talking to? The governmental officials that are not regulating the guns. They have recently, as of the last year, reduced the type of identification of individuals who are purchasing guns to assure that they don't have mental illness histories. So they've reduced, it was so much easier to get a gun. So these students are identifying these senators and congressmen as colluding with the shooters, or the NRA colluding with the shooters. So, it's like the individuals are staying in their victim sense. We are victims of the shooting, and these organizations are complicit with it. And that's one value of staying connected to your identification as a victim. And then the fourth thing that's mentioned in the book is that when you are a victim and you are a part of a group of people who were victimized, like soldiers in the military deployments and students in a school shooting, or concert goers in a shooting, or bombings in the towers in 9/11, etc., explosions of cars or cars running over people in Toronto. When you are part of a collective of people who have survived these experiences and also been related to people who were harmed and murdered by these experiences, you become part of a collective. And in that collective, people understand you. In the collective, they're all upset about this. And in this collective, those are the individuals that know what you went through, they get it, and they take you seriously. And it's at those times when you are connected to the clan of people that co-experience this that you once again visit your victim position. So I want you to respond in part to the whole idea of victimization identity as realizing that you need to respond. I'm looking for the right page here in the book. You need to respond to yourself out of self-respect and out of empathy for your situation, and out of respect for recognizing that truth is truth, reality is reality. And no individual that wants you to stop being victimized by your past needs to be let off for being disrespectful or not are acting like they know it all. And no, you can go ahead and be a victim in that situation and be clear to individuals that feel really overwhelmed by what you have gone through, and they have no clue what you've gone through, and number two, how to help you out of it. Okay, so we'll leave that as course number one, or class number one in this course on victimization, victim looping identity, because I want you to think about the honorable aspects of this so that you can honor the you that's been truly victimized. And we'll go on to some other issues about this that'll help you recover as well in the next class. Okay,